Lighting is a crucial skill to master in hard surface modeling, no matter how impressive your model looks. Poor lighting can render it useless. In this class, I'll guide you through step by step on how to approach lighting in Blender. You'll learn through two practical examples: a simple lighting setup for product design and a more complex environmental setup. Without further ado, let's get started. Alright, welcome to the comprehensive lighting masterclass, designed for 3D artists of all skill level. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your skills, this class will help you improving your lighting techniques with only basic understanding of Blender is required. This class is accessible to everyone. I've structured the class into 6 chapters, each focused on mastering lighting for hard surface modeling. By the end of this course, you'll have the skill and confidence to tackle any lighting challenge. Let's get started with chapter 1. In Blender, we have 4 different types of light: point light, area light, sunlight, and spotlight. Now I explain how these lights work and affect our scene, and also how to use them in your modeling journey. Let's begin with point light. So point light is an omnidirectional light source that emits the same amount of light in all directions, mimicking a real-world light bulb. Imagine a spherical shape radiating light uniformly. The radius of the sphere affects the shadow softness. A smaller radius results in harder shadow, while larger radius produces softer shadows. I hope this explanation helps you to understand point light and its behavior. Moving on to the next type of light, we have sunlight. Sunlight stimulates natural sunlight, casting sharp, defined shadows. Unlike point light, sunlight has directionality, meaning it's come from a specific angle, just like a sun in a real world. The unique aspect of sunlight is that it illuminates the entire scene, regardless of its placement. This is why it's often referred to as an infinity light. However, I'm not a huge fan of using sunlight, as it can lead to unrealistic renders. Fortunately, we have better alternative options like HDRIs and sky texture, which we'll explore later in this video. The third type of light is spotlight, which can be thought of as similar to a torchlight. The light emanates from a cone-shaped source, allowing for precise control over the illumination. In the lighting properties, you'll find the blend option. Increasing this value softens the shadow, creating a more subtle effect. Conversely, decreasing the value produces harsher shadows. To add depth and dimensionality, you can position the light to the one side and slightly rotate it. This technique is widely used by many artists to achieve more realistic and engaging product renders. The final type of light is area light, which stimulates light emitted from a surface. A great example is a TV screen, where the light is radiating from a flat square shape. This light is particularly used for product renders, as it can create a sharp, focused illumination that accentuates the model details. You may notice some product artworks feature a sharp light on their model. Area light is often the motherfucker behind this effect. Alright, in this chapter, we'll explore a simple lighting setup for product design using a Google Pixel model which I created a few months ago. You can use your own model to practice. So, after analyzing product advertising images, I've noticed a common technique: a bright side on one side and a subtle light on other. We'll replicate this principle here. First, I already set up my model and camera position for the render. The only thing we need is lighting. To start, I'll turn down the world strength to 0, eliminating all brightness in the viewport. Next, I'll add our primary light source, an area light. I'll scale it up using S key and rotate it on 90 degrees on y-axis to direct the light onto our model. The light will now reflect from the right side. Experiment with positioning and adjust the light to achieve your desired illumination. Rotate and scale the light to suit your vision. You may notice that our scene appears dark, as the light power is currently low. To fix this problem, increase the power to 500 in the lighting properties. This should significantly enhance the model visibility and reflection, especially those corner areas. Note that I'm working in EV to avoid Blender crashes, but if you're using a cycle engine, you may see even more realistic results. To accentuate the glossy finish, I'll add a spotlight above and behind the model. The reason we are adding a spotlight behind our model is to separate it from the background. Since our final render will be in a PNG format, I'll add a black background later with using a third-party editing software, but that's a topic for another time. The point light will create a highlight on the top, resulting in a crisp output. To balance the brightness, on the left-hand side, I'll add a plane mesh. This will add a small level of brightness to the side. Basically, we call it as a reflector. Just scale the plane and rotate it to the specific direction. Now I would like to add a minimal level of brightness to the entire scene by increasing the HDRI value. Just a small amount like 0.05 is fine. This will add a small illumination to our scene and enhancing realism. Now see the difference between with plane and without plane. You'll notice that our left side is more clear when the plane is enabled. What really happening here is that the light coming from the area light is started falling on the plane, and the plane will bounce back the light to the opposite direction, which result in a small illumination to our model. So that's all for the product lighting setup. Let's move on to the next chapter. In Blender, volumetric effect stimulates the absorption and emission of light in the medium, like a fog or smoke, adding depth, atmosphere, and realism to our renders. So let's see how to add volume to our scene with ease. All you just need is a giant cube. So add a cube covering the entire scene. Instead of blocking our view, we can change the cube visibility to wireframe view. In the shader editor, add a new material to the cube. Delete the principal BST of shader and search for principal volume. Connect the volume to the volume. Now you will see a dark smoke in our scene. You can change the color to your preference. I would like to make it something like an orange tone, something like a dusty fog effect. Adjust the density value to 0.1 or 2 for a more subtle effect. In order to make it something like a smoke effect, connect a noise texture to the volume. If you want to adjust the value in the texture node, you can do that if you want, but the major problem here is that we don't have control over the depth intensity. But no worry, I'll teach you a simple method to overcome the situation. Just add a color ramp node between these two nodes. This will allow you to control the volume amount using the color gradient. To reduce the depth, drag the black color to the left side for less smoke effect. To add more control over the scale, location, and rotation, you can add a mapping node by selecting the last node and press Ctrl T to add. Only if you enabled Node Wrangler add-on. That's it, you successfully add volume effect to your scene. In this chapter, we'll explore how to add a sky texture in our environmental concept artwork. Let's use this model to set up our sky texture. First, I'll switch to render mode. On the right hand side, go to the world properties, and under surface, click the yellow dot next to color. This will bring up a new menu where you can find the sky texture option, allowing you to add a real sky to your scene. Since we are currently in EV, switch to cycle to see the sun. Reduce the sun intensity to 0 and scale the sun size to 2. You'll now have a black circle representing the sun. To bring the sun to our camera view, we need to find the rotational value. Just give me a minute.
The next day.
Okay, I've placed the sun to our view. Now you can increase the sun intensity value to small amount around 0.01 or 0.02 to highlight the sun. At the bottom you will find several options. Feel free to experiment with those values and find the best look that suits to your taste. You can even change the sky texture to create a night moon effect by switching the present to Hosek. I think this is pretty insane. So, which one you like, day or night? Let me know in the comment section below. What is IES Light? An IES light in Blender refers to a type of light that uses an IES file to stimulate realistic lighting patterns. This allows you to create lighting that mimics specific types of light, fixture like spotlight or other light that have a unique distribution pattern. To set up IES Light for your scene in Blender, start by downloading a free IES Light texture online. Maybe you'll find a link in this video description. Once you got your texture, select the light you want to enhance. Spotlight and point light works best. In this lighting properties, click the use node option, but make sure you're in cycle render engine, as IES Light aren't supported in EV. From there, click the small dot beside the strength input. Scroll up until you find IES Light option. Now your light started bloom very bright. It happens because we have not added the texture file. For that, change it from internal to external. Click the folder icon to select your IES. Navigate to your downloaded file as you can see a preview image and texture file. Select any one of this and there you go. You'll learn to add realistic lighting technique. You'll notice the difference between a regular point light and a IES light. This is more realistic and detailed. It's simple yet interesting way to elevate your lighting game. I shared everything I know about lighting, also with 2 practical examples. So, thanks for watching the entire class. I appreciate your dedication. However, knowledge alone isn't enough. It's time to put your skill into practice. Open your Blender software right now and experiment with one thing you learned from this class, just for 10 to 15 minutes. When you begin to tap into your creativity and try out your own ideas, you'll definitely face confusion and difficulties. That's why we are having our Discord community. Join and ask your doubts in the server. And finally, if you find this class leveling up your skill, subscribe to boosting your level. Stay tuned for the next masterpiece. See you soon.